Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to you. My name is Nick and we won't hang around if you're watching these all in an order. It's Amiga games reviewed on the channel 301 through to 350. And we start with Breathless, a 3D game on the Amiga 1200, very influenced by Doom. They've done a great job. It's not using too much of the screen, but I believe you can expand it. The graphics are a little bit Game Boy Advance-y, but it is a brilliant game. I like the sound of it. It's really addictive and it's been realised well. I could have been playing this for absolutely ages, to be honest with you. I like the music that plays all the way through. I like the mazes. I like the puzzle aspect. One of those games which I'd really like to complete at some stage. Trivial Pursuit, a much more basic game. There's a few versions of this that come out based on the Trivial Pursuit board game, of course. The one flaw of this, to be honest with you, is this guy goes along to select the questions, but then after he asks you the question, you then have to confirm whether you got it right or not. And if you're going to play the computer, you keep saying, yes, I did get it right. And being a man of super cheaty fame, I could probably cheat my way through it. But fans of Trivial Pursuit that wanted it on the Commodore Amiga couldn't really argue with this if you're going to be honest with it. Extreme Racing, a chase view game. It moves quite smoothly, this, but I find it a little bit difficult to control. You can get disorientated quite quickly, but you know, it's quite well realised. Again, it reminds me a little bit of Game Boy Advance type stuff rather than the Commodore Amiga. The sounds are okay. If you stick with this for a while, you're going to perfect it, but not one I would have played a great deal back in the day. I think I would have much more fun driving around the wrong way, like I am indeed now. But you know, it's not too bad. It's not a great deal of games quite like this one. FIFA International Soccer. Now when it comes to football games, you can't argue the playability of Kickoff 2 and Sensible Soccer, but this is isometric and they haven't done a too bad job. It's just not extremely playable. Better than a lot of football games, so it has to get a mention. Was the start of FIFA's domination of the football world, although on the Commodore Amiga I think just this one come out. This is being played on the Amiga 1200, takes a bit of perfecting to get the most from it, but there is a bit of fun there, to be fair. Meteors, based on the classic arcade game Asteroids. I think this is public domain, this one, rather than the commercial release. I like the graphics they've done on the rotating meteors, but they haven't really beefed up the ship too much. You get some cool backgrounds, I think about 2 or 3 I believe. So if you're a fan of Asteroids and wanted it on the 16-bit computers, you couldn't go too far wrong with this one. The sounds are as expected. And we're going to have another interesting Asteroids clone next. I bet you can't guess what it is. Yes, it's Lemmingoids. You didn't predict that. It's like Asteroids again, but all the graphics have been replaced by lemmings from the game Lemmings. Public domain at its craziest best here. There are quite a few Amiga public domain games we might come to in the future. If you're liking the reviews of any of these ones, then check out the full reviews on the channel, because we've reviewed quite a lot of games now, as you would expect. Please show the channel some love and subscribe and watch all of them if you can do. I don't think you've got enough time, to be honest with you. Empire Soccer, another top-down game. Every character looks a bit like Luke Skywalker from Star Wars A New Hope, but we won't blame that. When it goes to top-down football, you immediately come against Kickoff 2 and Sensible Soccer, as I said before. Is it as good as those two? Well, not really, but you can get a bit of fun. If you had it back in the day and played it with a friend, you might have some warm memories there. It's not terrible, it's okay, but it's just I wanted a little bit more from my football games than this has to offer. Taking football into the platform world, this is quite a clever game, this one. Soccer Kid, good music, good playability. As you walk through the various levels, you must solve different puzzles, and you can take out enemies using your football. A few special moves there, like bouncing on the ball like that, kicking the ball long distances to take out enemies, and using it as a platform to get over certain bits of death. I shouldn't bash into that bike there. So it's quite a good fun game. If I had this back in the day, I would have played it quite a bit. One of the all-time classics, this, The Secret of Monkey Island, over a number of discs. You would play Guybrush Threepwood, and you must solve the mystery of LeChuck, I think, stealing his treasure, become a pirate, and then go on this amazing adventure. Fantastic music all the way through this. It's a point-and-click game. If you haven't heard of this, well, I don't know where you've been. It's one of the retro gaming classics, which was to spawn a succession of different sequels. But real nice story, a lot of humour in there, brilliant. KLAX, influenced a little bit by Tetris, but it works in a different way. You must move this platform thing, or this catcher, to assemble various colours down the bottom grid there. If you get 3 in a row, either vertically or horizontally, I think it lets you have them diagonally, you get points, a bit like that. It's quite addictive. It wasn't a big blockbuster game, but if you're into puzzle games, you can't get too wrong with this one. I think it's well worth tracking down if you're into this sort of genre and Tetris in general. One of the Amiga's Sonic clones, and it does quite well. It moves super fast. It's Kid Chaos. Basically, you must go through the level as quickly as you can, a thumping soundtrack all the way through. Look at this, you can see the speed of Sonic, which just goes to show you the Amiga probably could have done Sonic the Hedgehog. Why wasn't it released on this platform? We may never know. But if you want Sonic the Hedgehog, you can't get too much closer than this, although this guy, Kid Chaos with a big club, a bit like Biff from Back to the Future, is the closest you're going to get. I really enjoyed this game, didn't own it back in the day, but I love catching up with it. Nigel Mansell's World Championship on the Amiga 1200, fantastic engine sounds all the way through this game, it is to be commended. It does test you a little bit, getting around the different cars. The track seems very, very narrow, but I really enjoyed this game. If you own an Amiga and you're into Formula 1 games, track this one down. A little bit more difficult than most. You've got to try and get the road handling and all that sort of stuff. Championships and single races are available. Hooray! Mega Phoenix, based loosely on the arcade game Phoenix. This one plays quite well. It's a little bit tricky to get used to, first of all. You control a lone spaceship, destroy various waves of aliens. Yes, it's the old classic routine. And it's old as they come, the original Phoenix game. If you go to the final level, you attack a main mothership where you must take out the alien in the middle. It's quite addictive, if you, as I say, if you're into retro Space Invaders, Galaxians, that sort of thing, you'll probably love this one as well. Now, I've been a few football games in this Various 50, but this is a really bad game. They tried to go for vector graphics, thinking it was the future. The system slowed down too much. It's not playable, and it's ridiculously slow. You don't feel control of any of the characters. I'm supposed to be the blue ones here. And there's really duff speech that happens all the way through. It adds no level of excitement whatsoever. So, an interesting idea, a brave idea, which was just too difficult for the computer to handle and wasn't really realised. Prehistoric, a 2D platform game, not as good as Chuck Rock, has to be fair. It was very basic compared to that, but if I had it back in there as a kid, I wouldn't have minded it. It's a little bit lacklustre, but you know, it isn't a bad game. Go through the levels, avoid all the enemies, club to death everything you see, and there we go. It would have had its fans back in the day, but I don't think I would have played it too much if I had Chuck Rock and Chuck Rock 2, Son of Chuck, in the box as well. COLORIS, a bit of a Tetris variant here. You must get, a bit like KLAX really, a different sort of way. You can get 3 colours in a row. You can't rotate the shape, but you can change the order that these blocks are in. If you run out of screen, then it's game over, but you probably guessed that already. So 3 magenta, yes, and then get a white one there, 3 in a row. And that's pretty much it. And it's the simple games that always are the most addictive in my sort of like view. Should have put that somewhere different, Nick. Oh dear. Super Ski did have a sequel, this one, which we'll come to in a moment, but you must compete over a number of different disciplines. This one is slalom. The sounds are a little bit annoying, feels like a bit like an untuned TV set, but it's pretty basic. If you're into the Winter Olympics back in the day, you couldn't go too far wrong with this, and fans of skiing games in general probably would have liked this because there isn't too much to choose from instead. You can take on a number of friends or the computer, and it's quite fair gameplay, to be fair. Shadow Fighter. Now, Street Fighter 2 was quite a poor conversion on the Commodore Amiga, and it did have some competitors. This one's on the Amiga 1200, a number of characters, but yeah, heavily influenced by Street Fighter 2. I think this guy on the right's a bit like M. Bison, if you remember that character. Same sort of fares, power bars up the top there, best of 3 fights, and if you beat the opponent, you go on to the next one. It moves quite well, there's a number of different moves, but it turns into button mashing for me. Super Ski 2, a slightly better engine than Super Ski 1, as you could probably see already. It's moving a bit quicker, seems to be a bit more frame rates. Different disciplines again, if you go all the way through to win the championship. As you see, different to this one on the top bar, you can see a red bar there saying how far you've got on the course, which is good. On the other one, you was a bit in the dark. It's okay, not my type of games, but Super Ski 2 is better than Super Ski 1. So they're certainly making progress. There was not a Super Ski 3. It's the finish. Fire and Forget, one of the most awfulest games I've ever played. Look at the fuel bar, it goes down really quick as if there's a big hole in the engine. Goes have been quite rapid, there's not really a great deal to come back for. Fire and Forget, well, fire and forget it. There's a number of different missions you select on the map, but it doesn't matter too much which one you pick. It's a well, goddamn awful game. Those green pills you collect, or vials, get you more fuel, but as I say, look at the speed that the fuel goes down and you think, why the hell am I playing this? Fire and Forget 2 is the sequel, slightly better animation, well, a lot better animation, but a lot of the same problems were there, really. Better game, again, not one I'd really come back to. I'm told there's a way of making the car fly somehow. I'm not sure if that's a big fib. I've never been able to do it in the few goes I've had. And when I say few goes, it is few goes, because I don't really want to come back to play this a great deal of time. It's the Death Convoy. So you've got to stop them reaching the city or something. Super Space Invaders, based of course on Space Invaders from the 70s, the arcade cabinet. A number of different levels on this one. It's quite basic in the gameplay, but if you're into this sort of thing, you would like it. You get a bit of a nostalgia buzz. Great backgrounds, standard waves of aliens, and special stages too. Lots to dig out here. And the classic sounds are there, although it don't seem to be working on this recording. Hooray for that. Super Space Invaders. Alien Worlds, classic 2D scroller shooter in the style of R-Type. This one plays better than R-Type on the Commodore Amiga. You control this bug sort of spaceship, and you can land as well, so if you crash into the scenery you're not automatically dead. So you can walk along the bottom and fly. Different sorts of power-ups also, which is good. It's very easy to make a game like this generic. So Alien World, I think, is a bit of a hidden gem. Very, very difficult, so if you can find a poke for it, you're probably going to get more out of it. Now, Saturday daytime television, Saint and Greavesy, if you remember that far back. This is a quiz game. These are two ex-footballers, and they'll ask you questions depending on where you throw this power bar. If you're good at 70s and 80s football trivia, this will be for you. If you're not, then it'd be pure guesswork, a bit like me. Also come out on the ZX Spectrum, this, which we reviewed also. You answer the questions, it determines whether your player scores or misses. There, I missed. Greavesy's not impressed with that one. You're not wrong there. Chambers of Shaolin, another game over at different certain stages. You're a Shaolin monk and you must do different tasks to rise through the ranks and earn, well, a wig maybe. But it's not a bad game, it's pretty tricky. It's one of those ones to be perfected. Some people would hate this game, some people would love this game. I quite liked it, to be fair. It wasn't too bad. It was a little bit dull in places, but a little bit of amusement. The graphics have done well, and there's a bit of care of detail in this also. A game you might not have heard of, it's called Aquanaut. Might be a little bit of scuba dive, but in a very vague way. This character looks like Ellen Ripley from Aliens, but you must swim along, discover nuclear missiles, I think, and caves, and basically stay alive the whole time. It's quite easy to die, but you have an unlimited amount of spears that fire out of your tank. And as a kid, I would have found this quite good fun. It's good relaxing sounds with the water, and I've just been speared by a swordfish, which means utter death. Final Blow. Good graphics, this, large sprites, although the gameplay is quite basic. It turns into a bit of a slugfest, like lots of boxing games, where you're just pressing fire button the whole time. But having said that, I still enjoyed it. You get to select your different fighter from the ones available, and you do go through a separate championship. The playability is limited, to be fair. As a kid, you would have loved it. As an adult, you'll be getting bored fairly quickly. Only track this one down for nostalgia value if you had it back in the day. Other than that, I don't really get a lot from it. Gridstar, a really poor Formula 1 racing game. Looks like it's been made as a joke. What's really poor about it is if you crash into the hay bales, which for some reason are either side of the track, your car's going to explode in flame, which will probably happen in a minute. Buy Anko, there we go. Buy Anko, which is the only good game they sort of like did is the Kickoff series, but Dino Dini was more than responsible for that sort of thing. But look at this thing. It doesn't feel like a 16-bit game. It shouldn't really be here. It doesn't feel like a Formula 1 game either. It is rubbish. Mr. NUTZ Hoppin' Mad, another attempt to try and beat Sonic the Hedgehog. This is the most realised in terms of the graphics of the character, as close to Sonic the Hedgehog. Looks like it'll be pulled from one of those games. Having said that, I still like Kid Chaos a little bit better. What ruins this game a little bit for me is you're not straight into these platforms sort of like bits. You're on an overhead map wandering around first of all before you get here. So some kids might have gotten bored wandering around not knowing what to do. This one's even worse than Grid Start. Looks like it's sponsored by Listerine, and you will fall down the mouth playing this one. Worse than Crazy Cars 1 even. If you're going to compile one of your worst racing games ever, this would have to be considered. Road handling is, well, poor. You can go around the course really fast. You're always going to end up in like position 15 to 18. No upgrades, every track's the same, and it's like Boredom City. I feel sorry for the kids that only had this. The horizon is unimaginative. Those trees in the distance must be a million miles high. Tearaway Thomas, talk about Sonic clones again. This moves very fast, he does there's like somersaults there, and this is a really good game as well. Again, I don't think as good as Kid Chaos, but better than Hoppin' Mad Mr. NUTZ. You collect all these diamonds, then you've got to find, well, an entrance opens up in one of the trees. Normally, jump through there and you're there. It starts off fairly easy, so as a kid you're going to get lots of playability, lots of reason to come back. Makes you feel happy, a cheerful little tune as well. There we go. CABAL, straight from the arcades. You control this lone soldier down the bottom here. Like Operation Wolf, as though your character is visible. You must avoid getting hit with anything, avoid all the bullets, and shoot everyone that comes on the screen. Now, it shouldn't be fun, this game, but I did find it quite good fun, basic as it is. It's quite easy to get shot. I do like taking out those tanks. So, at the start you can hide behind stuff, but as they get destroyed, that's it. And kill everyone, you do a lovely dance out the room. Count Duckula, based on the cartoon, which was voiced by David Jason. This first game isn't too bad, but it's lacking something a little bit for me. The music is not too bad, he moves fast enough. The Spectrum version was monochrome, this one is in full colour. But you must collect keys in order to find a lost saxophone, I believe. Did I find the saxophone? No. Time's ticking down, any interaction with the enemies causes it to go down that bit quicker. Okay game, but not really one to be remembered with any great fondness. Count Duckula 2, this game is awful. In terms of sequels go, I don't know why they bothered. It looks like someone's made this in an afternoon. Spectrum version was rubbish as well. Largely it's to do with levels appearing and disappearing and guessing where they're going to come. Before you can even get to this bit, there's just like a space element where you have to fly a rocket past like meteors, but that doesn't really link up with this part of the game whatsoever. Avoid this game like the plague. It's T for terrible. Worse than touring cars, yes. Crackdown, interesting game, but didn't really appeal to me a great deal. You're on a stealth mission, you can hide along walls, you must collect certain keys and deactivate bombs, and that's pretty much it. If you're 1 to 2 players, if 2 player was there, I'm sure they'll be using the right side of the screen, but they're not. Could get a bit of fun with 2 of you. On your own, it's a little bit on the dull side, it has to be said. When you compare it to games like Alien Breed, which is similar top-down view, this is, well, quite far beyond it. Ski or Die, like the other ski games we've looked at, there's various different events to compete in. The most funniest one is the snowball one, which I'm doing here. Imagine that this is in the Olympics, flying snowballs at everyone that wouldn't know what to do. If you want to see a bit more of any of these games we're looking at, check out the full reviews in the Amiga playlist. Hooray! We are going through them. Will we review everything that's ever covered ever? I don't know, but we'll have a jolly good attempt. With your support, we should be able to keep going. Great stuff. Savage, some interesting sounds in this one. It's like fantasy, like He-Man. You fire these axes about the place and destroy demons as you go through this alright area. The game goes over like 3 separate levels which are completely different to each other. By far the best one is this one. One you're controlling some sort of bird flying around, and the other one's like a 3D avoiding obstacles. But this is where the action is, if you ask me. Come on, He-Man type blonde-haired fellow. Formula 1 3D, polygon racing. You always think of Jeff Cameron's Formula 1, but this isn't a bad alternative. It's not as good as that one. Frame rate is similar though, but it does get a bit confusing. Whoops, if we crash into the side. Now you can cheat a little bit on this by turning down the detail. When you turn down the detail, it turns off the barriers, and that enables you to cut the corners. There's a time ticking down as well, so a bit of an arcade element. When that goes to 0, it's the end of the race. There's a qualifying lap first of all, then this race, and then you're off. But it is good fun nonetheless. Nigel Mansell's Grand Prix feels a little bit like a souped-up 8-bit game, because that is what it is. Nice engine sounds. This is the second game from Nigel Mansell that we looked at. The first one is the better. But this is chase view all the way round. and that's about it really. It's using up a lot of the screen with the cockpit, which is a bit of a cheat, but there we go. I suppose that makes it run a little bit quicker. Do I like this game? Well, yes I do. I do not know why, but it is so basic. I suppose it's not quite there, nice, a little bit of pole position. Block out, it's like 3D Tetris this, but we're looking down a hole. We can rotate these shapes, and if we collect, form a full area, then they will vanish. You can tell by the different colours what level it is. It's a bit hard to see what you're doing in this one, but it's a nice idea. Would I have gone back to this? I prefer the original Tetris, but anyway, the further you get down, the quicker these objects will gradually go downwards. But good to see nonetheless. Block out, come out on a few systems, it's worth checking down. The Killing Game Show, well revered as a classic. You control this robot with steadily increasing water levels. You go up and up the screen to get to the exit before the water catches up with you and causes all your circuits to fry. Different sort of power-ups, takes a little bit getting used to this game. On the original review, it could be said I didn't get used to it at all, because the review is all about seeing what your first or second go would have been like and would have been enough to go back. I think it's worth staying with and perfecting with this one. You can get quite a bit of enjoyment in a number of different levels. The Last Duel, based on the arcade cabinet, I believe. Looks very basic. This feels like it's been designed with some sort of like construction kit rather than a fully realised game. It's alright for a few minutes. If I got it as a cover disc, I would have been pleased. If I bought it as a full game, I would have been disappointed. So, you know, it's how you pitch what level the game should be at. But rather lacklustre again. It's not really one to go back to with any warm fondness whatsoever, and a little bit annoying. Back on track, Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge. Again, lots of good animation in this one, lots of good fun. It's over 11 discs, so it's probably best if you install it on a hard drive rather than putting the different discs all the time, because you'll be spending more time swapping the discs than actually playing the game. The story is there once again. LeChuck's trying to track down some Freakwood trying to track down some other treasure there. If you like the first one, you would love this. It's a bit more of the same. KLAKTRIS, a little bit like COLORIS, but a more advanced version of COLORIS really. This time when you get 3 in a row, the blocks like crumble a bit like that. Can get diagonals also. I prefer it to COLORIS, but essentially it's the same game, just realised slightly differently. It's a bit hypnotic the way those blocks crumble, and that has me playing it a bit longer than I normally would do, I think. There we go, diagonal, hooray! Simple pleasures, simple gaming, relaxation, and that's what gaming is all about. Racing Maniacs, this is quite good fun this. It came out as a public domain game, but it's pretty good for polygon racing if you compare it to Formula 1 3D we looked at a bit earlier on. You race different characters involve Clint Eastwood and Ernie from Sesame Street, but it's basically the same thing all along. You've got different sort of like tracks you can go on, and you need to beat your opponent. It's like 1-on-1. Racing Maniacs, terrible typo though, loser. It should say loser, but anyway, it's funny nonetheless, and I do like that typo, although I don't think it was intended. Fernandez must die in the style of Commando, though this time you can get into actual vehicles every now and again, which is that Jeep. You must go forward to kill Fernandez because he's a nasty piece of work. Game is a little bit flawed, I think it gets stuck at a certain point. But anyway, if you're into your run and guns, this isn't too bad. But you know, it's never going to rival Commando on the ZX Spectrum for me. But it's okay. And there's armories to go in. Don't blow yourself up shooting at the doors like him. What a sap that was. Hungry Harry, we do look at public domain games every now and again. Heavily influenced by Pac-Man, about 5 or 6 levels on this one, with teleports as well. Again, nice gentle learning curve, you know how to play Pac-Man, this time he's looking a little bit green. Power-ups and those sort of things. It does drift off the normal sort of like mazes after about level 3, so it gives you a sufficient challenge there. Oh, how public domain! I like that, or probably called homebrew now, isn't it? I'm probably going to complete this level, and when you complete the level, he does say something. Yeehaw! Feud, more well known on the ZX Spectrum and better on the ZX Spectrum to be fair. On this one you can't move diagonally, but the basic game is you control Lyric, this blue dressing gown person, and you're facing Leonoric. They both hate each other, and by collecting different bits of spells or ingredients you then fry each other to death, and the one that survives is the winner, of course. Lots of downtime on this, just wandering around, but why can't you go diagonally? That ruins it a little bit for me. I play 3D soccer, now more fun than Graham Souness's vector soccer, but again, a really brave idea which you struggle to realise. You control one player and you just basically chase the ball a bit like you used to do in PE if you was rubbish like me. By holding your arm up, you can ask for the ball to be passed to you like that, but then unless you're in pinpoint position, it's going to be game over. But really interesting game, gave me a few laughs. I wouldn't have played it back in the day because, well, I would have played Kickoff too. I was hooked on Kickoff too. Well, Sensible Soccer was good as well. Logical, a fantastic puzzle game. Really enjoyed this. Basically, you've got different cogs over different levels, and every time you get the same colour ball in all 4 of the holes, then that explodes. If you explode all of them, you're there. It does get more advanced as you go along, but really easy to get into. Really simple premise there, and you know, you could have quite a bit of fun with this on your own. Time would have whizzed past. Logical, and that's the last game we're going to look at this time round. So I hope you liked having a look at those games. As I say, if you do enjoy them, thank you for watching them. Have a look at the full-time reviews. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you could subscribe if you haven't already, that would be really, really welcome. The games will keep coming as long as you keep supporting me. Until next time, take great care of yourself and are very fond. Goodbye.
Goodbye.